Okay, so we're going to just be doing 5 reps in each direction of each of these exercises. You guys could go slower than me, you could go faster than me. Feel free to go bigger with these movements if you have the ability to, or go smaller. So just be respectful of what barriers you might have or that you're feeling from your body when you try to explore each of these things. I think most of them are a little bit newer to you guys, and so hopefully you find them kind of cool too to explore. We're going to start out with our neck. And hands can be on your knees if you're sitting kind of like I am. I've got a little yoga block under me to help out my ankles a little bit because I got them tucked. But you could be standing, you could be sitting in a chair. What we'll do is we'll just try to keep movement from the shoulders minimal and same from our torso. So we're isolating just our neck. We'll tuck chin to chest and think about trying to find length. So lift up to ceiling while you roll the chin forwards. See if you can get your chin to actually touch your chest and then draw it along the line of your collarbone and then look over your shoulder. Lift your Adam's apple up as you start rotating the other direction. And as you're rotating towards the left, look over the left shoulder. Drop the chin down, touch it to the outside of the collarbone and scrape it across the collarbone. Back to the chest, and we'll reverse it. So if we just start from the beginning, tuck chin to chest, chin touches the chest, scrapes across left collarbone, far as you can rotating, look over left shoulder, hold the right shoulder down and back, feel that stretch to the right side of the neck, look over left shoulder, lift the Adam's apple up, lift the chin up, find length while you back bend, rotating the other way, and drop down. Outside of right collarbone, trace collarbone to center line and reverse it. So that's a rep each direction. I'm going to go a little bit faster now. Feel free to go slower than me. Again, feel free to go faster than me. Going slower is going to give you an opportunity to kind of connect to this stuff, which could be really helpful, especially for this area. Maybe you'll find that one or two places are a little bit sensitive to you, so try not to force it too much. I've had a little bit more time to practice this, and I still find that there's some places that I need to just be a little bit more delicate with than others. So just being mindful of that. I'm putting in like 50% effort right now, so I'm actually not squeezing all the muscles that are pulling me in each of these directions as hard as I possibly could. And again, especially considering this is likely your first time going through this giant rotation through all angles that your neck can move in, it's probably better off that you just stay really gentle. You might surprise yourself and maybe you're actually unable to get your chin to touch your collarbone or your chest, in which case no big deal. Just work at it over time, you'll start to build the range. We'll go one last rep towards the right, look over right shoulder, lift the chin, lift the Adam's apple length through the neck, look over left shoulder, trace left collarbone from outside to center, and from center, trace to outside left collarbone, look over left shoulder, overhead, look over right shoulder, outside of right collarbone gets traced, back to center. Cool, you guys. Hands on the shoulders. Same concept, but we're going to do it from length of our spine, from the top of our shoulders right down to the top of our hips. We're going to try to get the whole spine involved. Your neck can kind of just rest a little bit. You don't have to be doing anything special with it. Round first. Try to get everything to flex. Really compress, and at the same time, try to find as much space as you can through the back. Rotate to your right. Look over your right side, bending sideways. Start opening up the whole back side of the body. Rotating the other direction to the left. Side bend to the left. And go into flexion, rotating back towards your center line. Again, trying not to let the shoulders hike up or anything like that. All of this movement, rotating left, side bending left, lifting up and away, rotating to the right. It's all coming from muscles of the spine, trying not to let the shoulders be involved. Side bend to the right, flex everything, back to where you return. We'll stay flexed, rotate right, side bend to the right, look over that Right hip behind you, lift up and over, side bend to the left, round out, back to center, and then again turning to the left. And same thing, we're going to do 5 reps going side to side. Everything flexed hard as we can. Rotating to the right again, looking over the right shoulder, opening everything up, rotating to the left, adding in the side bend, flexing, we come out of that side bend, out of the rotation. Again, rotating to the left, side bending, lifting everything up. Each rep, we're trying to find just a little bit more space to move. We're developing a bit of a better relationship to the muscles that are involved in pulling the body or the joints into each direction. And so we're trying to buy up just a little bit more space. Maybe you can even think about it the same way that you would warm up weight for any of your barbell lifts. You keep adding on a little bit more weight as you grow more accustomed to the movement. And each time you're really using your intention to try to pattern a cleaner movement. And as you pattern that cleaner movement, that's allowing you to become more efficient, which means you're safer to move the load. And you'll have more success doing it. One more time, we'll rotate to the right, side bend, look behind, right side of the body, open up the chest like a back bend, rotate to the left, side bend to the left, drop forwards, flexing the spine. Maybe you guys notice as you're doing this, or if you're watching the video without actually moving, you can see my right shoulder always wants to lift up on me, so that's a little compensation or a little bit of a loss of isolation of my spine muscles that I need to really clean up. And it usually happens to me if I'm trying to talk and move at the same time. So stuff like that maybe you're paying attention to. We're going to work our shoulders and our hip next, and we'll challenge them just a little bit by dropping down onto the floor. So here's what we'll do is we're going to do like our swimmer circles. So when we're doing these on the front side of the movement, we're thinking about trying to twist the arm outwards, starting from the fingers, moving it down to the shoulder line. And the back side of the movement, we're going to be twisting inwards, starting from the fingers and moving that twist through the shoulder line. So I'll just start with my arm reaching overhead. My head is just going to rest on a fist. I've got my shoulders down, and I'll try to tuck my stomach a little bit. Palm twists out, forearm, elbow, bicep, and shoulder all twist out. I'll lift straight up. I can't go any further up. Twist from the palm, forearm, elbow, bicep, shoulder inwards, and I just keep twisting so that by the time I'm at the back side of the arc, high as my arm can get, my thumb, I'm actually trying to get it to point to the ceiling, and I drop down, thumb still pointing to the ceiling. Shoulder down back, lift thumb up, high as we can. Won't go any higher. We continue the circle while we twist back outwards, starting from palm through forearm, elbow, bicep, shoulder. 1 rep, lift again, twist, palm, forearm, elbow, bicep, pulling shoulder, just gently down and back. For the most part, you can kind of just let the shoulder blade do what it wants to do. Just focus a little bit more on trying to build up as much space as you can from rep to rep to really be able to rotate that full length of the arm from the shoulder right through to the palm, palm right through to the shoulder. Try to lift up just a little bit higher each time. Try not to let the arm drift sideways so much each time. Try to find a little bit more height behind you each time. And 1 more rep. Palm rotated out, won't go any higher. Palm in, forearm in, elbow in, bicep in, shoulder in to the back side. It's hard to talk and coach at the same time. Good. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Head resting in my hand. Trying to keep my belly button pulling away from the floor, so lengthen my stomach. Palm out, lift, twist the palm, pull it back, twist the shoulder. So thumb is facing up. Thumb facing up, lift straight up, arc out sideways, rotating everything outwards, away from the body's midline. And keep in mind, one of the things that we can really be conscious of while we're doing our mobility work is intention and mindfulness. So as I'm trying to create as much tension through the rest of my body as I can, or trying to create just as much tension through the rest of my body as I am through that moving joint, is what kind of helps try to isolate it just a little bit more, so that I can try to start to eliminate some of the compensations or coupling of different parts of the body that are trying to facilitate the movement where I may have lost capacity in that joint that I'm trying to train. So in this case, the shoulder. When I'm trying to lift up the arm, for an example, it's really common for that to be paired with that low back bowing into the floor. So that's where I really try to keep resetting my low back in between 1 or 2 reps. And I notice that decreases the motion I can actually get through my shoulder, but it increases the kind of purity of that motion. I'm going to glide myself forward a little bit here. So we'll move on now. We could just interlace our fingers, rest them, our forehead on them. I'm just going to lift my head up a little bit so I can talk to you guys while I do this. I'm going to lift the leg up, I'm going to bend the knee, and I'm going to twist the thigh outwards, and I'll just try to place my leg down on the floor. Think about trying to lift the kneecap up first and the ankle up second, so really trying to twist out. And then we return to where we started. Knee bends, whoops, leg lifts, knee bends, thigh twists outwards from the body line. Pull that knee up high while you keep twisting. Gentle, place it down. Twist knee, ankle up. Just gently unwinding, controlling unwinding, and down. Again, twisting out. Pulling sideways, dropping down. Reset the low back, reset the shoulders, knee up, unwinding, leg straight, comes down. Up, knee bend, twist, pull sideways, drop down, knee up, ankle up, resisted unwinding as it comes back to your center line, leg straight and down. I think that was maybe just 4. Might as well do another one just in case. Oh, it's definitely a challenge to talk and do these at the same time. Just turning around so you guys can see from this side as well. Make sure you guys get both sides here. Bent knee, twist, open sideways. Try to get knee up first and resist the leg, winding back to center, or I guess unwinding. Straight leg, bent knee, twist, and then lift the knee, place it down. Knee up, ankle up, bring back to center, straight leg, and down. I just glided across the floor this time, and I just did that to try to eliminate some of the rotation I'm getting from my hip. So again, talking about trying to keep the movement a little bit more pure. And that's okay, even if it slides across the floor a bit, because now I'm keeping that movement a little bit more purely to my hip joint rather than rotating my pelvis. One more rep. And watch me just glide again. I'll try not to use my abs to lift my knee, but just my hip or the front side of my hip. And again, returning. Whew. listen how much I'm cracking. I think I'd be cracking a little bit less by now. Apparently I'm not moving around enough. Actually, I should probably pay more attention to my elbows. Okay, so this one, you guys could do it like sitting up in a chair is fine, just so long as your body is relaxed. If you have a little towel, face cloth, you can put it down on hardwood so it's a little bit more slippery. I'm fortunate enough, I've got this little disc here. You don't even need anything. You could really just do this on the ground. I'll show that one to you. But we're gonna hold on to the thigh to make sure it's not swaying side to side. Then if you want, you could even just place your fingers. You'll feel kind of like the bony part of the front side of your shin. And if you just kind of put your fingers on either side of that bony kind of prominence there, you could feel it turning in and turning out. Turning in and turning out. We'll go nice and slow. We're going to do 5 reps in each direction. We're trying to get some rotation through the knee. While we're doing this, just gently gripping the floor with the palm of your foot and trying not to let your foot rock out or in at all while you do it. So trying not to let it rock inwards, not letting the ankle drop to the floor, not letting the ankle drop outwards as the shin rotates in. And I'll show you on the other side without that little cup. It's a little bit trickier, maybe not. We'll just let the foot kind of glide across the floor. So I'm just taking weight out of the ball of my foot so I can pivot off of my heel. And I can even take a little bit of weight out of my heel. And again, fingers connecting to front side of the shin bone. So I can just feel as it butts up against the outside finger and butts up against the inside finger. It's a little bit trickier here because I'm trying to grip the air with the palm of my foot. So if you don't have a super strong connection to the muscles of the bed of your foot, work on that. And maybe that makes just this like kind of hovering variation a little bit more challenging than having the towel or one of these little sliders here. This is the equipment that I borrowed from the gym, you guys. Everybody grabbed barbells and everything, and of course I grabbed a slider and stole Jen's yoga blocks. Thanks, Jen. Last thing that we're gonna do is for the ankles. You could always put your calf up on a barbell. You could put it on one of these yoga blocks. You could put it on a little lacrosse ball, anything you want at all. You don't even have to. You could just have it kind of suspended in the air, like you could be holding your shin right here. But part of the reason why doing those little shin rotations was nice just before the ankle stuff is because now when we work on the ankle, we could connect to that shin bone again. And while we do our circles of the ankle, let's not let that shin bone, or let's try to minimize how much it wants to pivot in each direction. So I'm just doing some circles. I'm going to do my reps going one direction, because I just ended up getting distracted talking to you about shins, even though everything else is going forwards, backwards, and now we'll go the other way. But no big deal. Try to listen as well. What's going to happen is you're going to feel your knee wanting to hike up or bend, so just gently flex the quad while you're doing this. Again, that's a compensation. Every time that your knee bends, it's trying to close up the angle between your ankle and your shin. So important to try to eliminate that little compensation there. And that's just a marker of maybe some flexion you're missing at the ankle. Think about how important that flexion is for stuff like squatting, to allow the knee to move over the toe line, or for stuff like running, where every time you're landing on the ball of your foot into the heel and the knee's kind of rocking forward. I'm over exaggerating the motion right now, but if you have a very stiff, kind of like I do, flexion of the knee over the toe, if you don't have a lot of it, probably you experience shin splints on the first couple runs of the season, or as you start to try to increase your volume of running. There's a good chance that those are correlated. So again, my shin is down here, not up here, it turns out. Weird. We're just going to go through those circles nice and slow, and Doesn't matter if you go one way and then the other, or you just do all 5 reps going the one way, 5 reps going the other way. Same thing for the stuff we did in the neck and the stuff we did in the back. There's value in doing both, so no worries. And then now we'll go the other way. Really try to get lots of pointing, turning in, lots of pulling the toes up without the knee moving to the ceiling, turning out without the shin turning out, turning in without the shin rotating inwards. And again, like I said, you can do all this stuff faster than I did. You can do it slower than I did. Go back to some stuff after we're wrapped up this video and try it again or connect to it. Feel free. But remember, the whole, one of the biggest things about our mobility is we're trying to recreate a connection of our brain to different parts of our body. Because if we can't actively move it ourselves, then any action that we're taking that uses or needs to have that capacity in that joint, the body's not going to just be automatically doing it for you. So that's it's something that you just develop over time, the same as you do all your other lifts. I hope you guys enjoyed this stuff, and I look forward to seeing you guys again on Monday. Sorry I couldn't be with you today. I'm writing an exam, so